الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا إنه من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما ما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. عباد Allah, all praise due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We seek His aid and we ask His forgiveness at all times, Jalla Jalaluh. I bear witness and testify that there is none worthy of worship except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. And that we just strive our entire life in order to understand this and implement this in the best way that we can. For verily, ikhwani akhawati fillah, the three questions that will be asked in the qabr by Munkar and Nakir, that will appear from every single child of Adam, will be asked this question: Man Rabbuk wa man Nabiyyuk wa ma Dinuk? And this is it, akhi. It doesn't matter whether you are fluent in Arabic or whether you can't speak Arabic at all. It is based on how you understood this principle of La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. In the worst of affairs of the new invented matters, every innovation leads to misguidance and every misguidance leads to the hellfire. Ikhwati akhawati fillah, a believer and a mu'min is a person, ikhwani, who is aqil, who is a person who is intelligent, understanding. A believer is not an individual who's bitten in the same place twice. A believer is the one who learns from his mistakes. Like they say, the famous saying goes that a fool is the one who learns from his own mistake. but the wise person is the one who learns from others. And Islam, ikhwani akhawati fillah, is a tariq. The Prophet ﷺ, his seerah, the 23 years that he was giving a da'wah, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, there is so much that we can learn from the way he interacted into society and the way he was. Right now, ikhwani, we're living at a times where we, the Muslims, as soon as things get difficult and tough, we will start to pile the mountain of weight of abuse and torture and insult upon another believer. Meaning we are fragile and too weak to face adversary to his face. And this is one of the problems that we are facing today, ikhwani. And this is one of the reasons why our communities are crumbling. Some, alhamdulillah, stable and some are not. Even within the bilad of the Muslims, we are slowly seeing the temptation and the influences of the shaitan even in the bilad of the Muslimin worldwide. Wherever you are, you see the influences, ikhwani. You have to understand, ikhwani, that a time will come where people will go to the graves, to the qabr, and they will envy those who are in the qabr because of how difficult times is going to be. They will be jealous of the ones that are dead. That's a time that's come, and how difficult it will be upon the believer. As you know, ikhwani wa akhawati fillah, one of the signs of Yawm al-Qiyamah is also going to be that the Dajjal will increase, falsehood and lies, to the point where the person who is speaking the kadhib and the lies, people will start to believe that individual. And the one who's speaking the truth, the sadiq, the one who's calling the people to the Quran and the Sunnah, the brother who's firm upon his deen, the sister who's firm upon her deen, and displaying the hijab and the honor and still trying to resemble honor, they will be looked down on and they will be mocked at. Another thing, ikhwani akhawati fillah, is one of the signs of Yawm al-Qiyamah is also going to be that the Dajjal won't be mentioned on the manabir. Dajjal won't be mentioned on the mimbar. Also, ikhwani akhawati fillah, not a single prophet came on the face of the earth except that he warned his nation against the Dajjal. One of the things that at Dajjal will come is al-kadhib, lies. He will present something which seemed to be truthful, but is a lie, is a kadhib. And one of the main lies that he's going to sell to the people is that he's Allah, Ar-Rabb. And because of how confusing and because of how much the ignorance is going to prevail at that time, because of people's knowledge, because of people having less knowledge and the iman is weak, people will start to follow the Dajjal and people will start to slip into the traps of the Dajjal. Even though, ikhwani, on his forehead it says kafara, but still people will lose their iman. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ikhwani, when He spoke about truthful, Allah connected truthful to three categories and three different people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu taqullah wa kunu ma'a as-sadiqeen. O you who believe, fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is one of the main principles that every single khatib calls the people to, al-khutbah yawm al-Juhmah. Ittaqullah, ittaqullah. Even the Prophet ﷺ, on his deathbed, that was the wasiyah that he gave out to his people. Luqman, when he was giving that advice to his son, وَإِذْ قَالَ لُقْمَانُ لِابْنِهِ وَهُوَ يَعِظُهُ يَا بُنَيَّ لَا تُشْرِكْ بِاللَّهِ. We find all of the anbiya and all of the prophet, that was the advice that they gave the people. Fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because without the fear of Allah, ikhwani, a person will not be in control of carrying out good deeds. A person is going to live a life of dhulm. A person is going to live a life of shortcoming and deceiving. Because, ikhwani, when the fear of Allah is out of the chest of the human being, you will find all sorts of calamities taking place in the earth. Like bloodshed, like robbery, murder, robbing the wealth of the orphans and the masakin and the yatim, killing an innocent family without injustice. And you see the dhulm prevailing to the dunya today in a way that we have never seen before. Where a person will kill a child, a baby, okay, and just carry on with his day like nothing has happened. Even within the Muslim countries, ikhwani, where you think there should be supposed to be some sort of adl and justice, and we can see the blood being spilled like there's no tomorrow. If you get the map today and you display it out, there is not a single place where you can put your finger except that it is dripping blood. Fisq and fasad. And if you take a look at ikhwani wa akhawati fillah, at the time when that conversation took place between the malaika and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, They said, Ya Rabb, أَتَجْعَلُ فِيهَا مَنْ يَفْسُدُ فِيهَا وَيَسْفِكُ الدِّمَاءِ. Oh my Lord, are you going to create something that will cause bloodshed and fasad on the earth? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Adam. And then when they saw Adam naming things that they did not know, and they saw how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught Adam, عَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءِ, they said, سُبْحَانَكَ لَا عِلْمَ لَنَا إِلَّا مَا عَلَّمْتَنَا. Glory be to you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who taught us that which we do not know. And on the day of Al-Arafah, Allah reminds the Malaika of the statement that they made every single year. The point being, Ikhwani Akhawati Fillah, even though this ilm and this ilm al-shar'i, we see it within so-called people of Tullab al-ilm and the Muslim Ummah, we still see fasad and corruption taking place in the dunya. Dhulm and dhulumat. And that is going to be darkness on the day of resurrection. Now you have to understand, Ikhwani, Al-Jannah, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Jibreel to check Jannah, Jibreel came back and Allah was fully aware. He said, anybody that hears about Al-Jannah would want to enter it. But most people won't, because Al-Jannah is surrounding difficulties. Being truthful and being strong and being upright at the time of adversary is one of the most difficult things in the dunya. We even see this amongst the ulama and the tullab al-ilm. At the moment the iman is tested, you see them crumbling and shaking. The moment people's iman is put to the test, we even see it amongst our brothers that we know personally. They started to shake and crumble. Compare that to the way the Anbiya were tested. Like Ayyub alayhi salatu wasalam. When Allah took everything away from him. Even to the point where people did not want to hire his wife. Because they feared that the illness that Ayyub had may come through his wife into their lives. So they stopped even hiring her, they even stopped giving her a job. When it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who gives the illness and who gives the cure. And Ayyub was tested in a severe way. But yet Ayyub not once did he shake or crumble and say, I don't want nothing to do with this deed. Today, Ikhwani, Akhawati Fillah, we find people, Muslims, who will even hide their name and their identity in fear of what people may think. Is this al-Iman, Ikhwani, Akhawati Fillah? Iman, Ikhwani, is being truthful and being firm and upright when even you are put to the test. Even me saying Allah knows best about my hal. But the best thing that we can do, Ikhwani, is ad-du'a and being truthful. Remember one thing, Ikhwani, how many times have we seen people who, even when they are living through the worst times of their life, Allah has given them a good ending. A man, Ikhwani, who came to the masjid in a state where he was drunk, intoxicated. And people pushed him away and they said, we don't want this individual into the masjid. But he insisted to come in. He came in, Ikhwani, stood next to the line in as-salah, and Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana, the individual died in a sujood. And how many other times have we seen, Ikhwani, the opposite? The point is, Ikhwani, Allah is the only one who's aware of what's in the qalb of the people. That's why the Prophet ﷺ said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَنْظُرُ إِلَى صُوَرِكُمْ وَلَا إِلَى أَجْسَامِكُمْ وَلَكِنْ يَنْظُرُ إِلَى قُلُوبِكُمْ وَأَعْمَالِكُمْ. But Allah does not look at your appearance, and Allah does not look at your bodies, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala looks at your hearts and your amal. As long as you are sincere to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will make a way out. As long as you are truthful, like we mentioned in this ayah, يَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَكُونُوا مَعَ الصَّادِقِينَ. O you who believe, fear Allah. Fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as much as you can, and be with those who are truthful. As long as you fulfill this ayah, akhi fillah, then Allah will make a way out for you, and Allah will give you a husn al-khatimah, and Allah will accept your Ramadan, and Allah will accept your salah, and Allah will accept your dua, and Allah will accept your attendance of this Juhmah al-khutbah, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will turn all of your bad deeds into good deeds. But it requires juhd. الَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. Those who strive in our path, those who fight when adversity, calamities and difficulties touch them, but they still strive to walk into the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then Allah will guide them. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala checks your sincerity, ikhwani akhawati fillah. And this is why you'll find many of the salafs, and including the sahabas, that they said there is nothing more difficulty that we have fought more than our niyyah and our intention. So as long as a person rectifies that, then he will find that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help him. Even though some of the Salafs used to say, even when they started a dars, giving the dars, or even when they started to give the khutbah to Juhmah, whatever it may be, that they will find them renewing and checking their niyyah over and over again, how quick this niyyah can change, and how quick shaitan takes the influence and takes the steering. Likewise, ikhwani, being truthful and being righteous leads to al-Jannah. How do we know that? The Prophet ﷺ told us, إِنَّ الصِّدْقَ يَهْدِي إِلَى الْبِرِّ وَإِنَّ الْبِرَّ يَهْدِي إِلَى الْجَنَّةِ. Verily Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, verily the Prophet ﷺ told us, stick to truthfulness. Stick to truthfulness. For as truthfulness leads to righteousness and piety, and righteousness leads to al-Jannah. And a person will continue to speak the truth until he is written as a sadiq. And this is a sahih hadith. So it's not possible, ikhwani wa akhwati fillah, that a person who's a believer is known to be a liar. And sometimes people say, for example, employers and employees, when they want to hire people, they don't look at what they say, they look at what they do. As they say, the first impression is what counts. They look at how you behave, they look at the way you move. Just like I mentioned before, the famous MMA fighter Khabibi said that non-Muslims don't read the Quran and the Sunnah. They don't read the Quran and the Sunnah, they read you, sitting right here. So be a good ambassador for Islam. Show the best character. The person's name is Muhammad, the person's name is Umar, the person's name is Isa, and he has a name of a Nabi, he has a name of a Sahaba. But he has the worst to offer. He's a drug dealer, spreading the community with haram and filth, corruption and fasad. And everything that he does is he cuts corner, scams the system, scams the people, gets innocent people addicted to drugs. And his life is filled with ma'asiyah, almost living the lifestyle of Fir'aun. And then he wonders, ikhwani, why things are going sideways for him. So as-sidq yahdi ila al-birr. So truthfulness leads to piety, and piety leads to al-Jannah. And also, ikhwani, righteousness leads to a high rank in al-Jannah. Just like when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was categorizing 3 types of people: the Nabiyyin, the Siddiqeen, the Shuhada, and the Salihin, 4 people. The Anbiya, those who speak the truthful, and those who are truthful in the dunya. The Shuhada and the Salihin. Look at the level of rank that those people who are truthful, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put them alliance with. So being truthful, ikhwani, not only in speech but also in your action. That you're truthful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That when nobody sees you except Him Jalla Jalaluhu, you are truthful to Him. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will guide you. Likewise Allah said, وَمَنْ يُطِعِ اللَّهَ وَالرَّسُولَ فَأُولَٰئِكَ مَعَ الَّذِينَ أَنْعَمَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِمْ مِنَ النَّبِيِّينَ وَالصِّدِّيقِينَ وَالشُّهَدَاءِ وَالصَّالِحِينَ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, whoever obeys Allah and the Messenger, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bestow them upon the favor of the prophets, steadfast, affirms of truth, and the martyr and the righteous, and excellence are those companions. Likewise, ikhwani akhawati fillah, from what we find upon truthful is, even at the time of the pre-Islamic era, the time where people used to worship idols, the time when the Prophet ﷺ came on the da'wah and people rebuked him and gave him a hard time and expelled him out of Mecca, you will find that the mushrikeen at that time, even they took honor in being truthful. As Sufyan, in the time when he was not a Muslim, radiyallahu anhu, he recorded an incident when he was asked about the Prophet ﷺ. He said that I said the truth about it. He said, if I did not fear in becoming notorious in falsehood, I would have lied about him ﷺ. And this was a time when he was not even a Muslim. So even the mushrikeen at that time, even they seek ownership, and even they seek honor through telling the truth. Because a person, ikhwani, at that time who spoke lies was never regarded as anything of seriousness. Even his testimony wouldn't be taken. So it shows to you how far truthful can lead you. Likewise, based on how you lived your life, your hayat al-dunya, the way you've lived life. You're a person, ikhwani, who only became a true Muslim during the month of Ramadan. And that is the time you spoke the truth. That is the time you were truthful with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If the other 11 months of the year you were just ghosting, doing whatever you want. You weren't truthful to Allah, you weren't truthful in your transaction, you weren't truthful with your family, and everything you did was based on khiyana and ghish. deceiving people and lying. So a person needs to ask himself, how is it that you want your life to end? How you lived your life is how it's also going to end. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. Another thing is, ikhwani, deceiving and deception is one of the trickery, one of the agenda of a shaitan. One of the manhaj of a shaitan is deceiving, is a deceiver. As you know, a shaitan deceives people. And that's why Yawm al-Qiyamah, when he will give this khutbah, in Yawm al-Qiyamah, he will say to the people, فَلَا تَلْوُمُونِي وَلُومُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. Don't blame me, but blame yourselves. All I've done was I called you and you followed me. So shaitan, as we know, ikhwani, he will also free himself Yawm al-Qiyamah from the people. And trickery, and deceiving and manipulation, all of that comes from a shaitan. And somehow, ikhwani, even in parts of where we come from, we will find that the more advanced you are in deceiving people, the more advanced you are in ghish and lying and manipulating people and causing chaosity in the community, the more people will put their thumbs up. The better you are at lying and deceiving people, the more people will say, you know what, you're smart. As if deceiving and lying and smartness is something that coexists, as if there's something that goes together. It's one package. But actually the truth of the matter is that the only thing which is successful and moving forward is with Allah and His Messenger. And lying, ikhwani, has nothing to do with our religion. One thing that we find with people who deceive and lie is always look at their ending. In the dunya they are humiliated, and in akhirah what's going to come is far more severe. So be with those who are truthful. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. Subhanakallah bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. Today's khutbah al-Jummah, ikhwani, was about being truthful. Especially at the times where you can make money through online transaction, you can purchase things, you can make business, you can do a lot of things in the dunya today. But it requires, ikhwan akhawati fillah, no matter what we do, what we touch, where we go, where we look at, what we listen, we always as believers, we need to go back to the Quran and the Sunnah. What does the Quran say about our business and the way we handle things? Is my income halal? And this is one of the biggest trickery that we find. This is one of the biggest problems that we find in our community. People earning haram money. And then he wonders why all of his children have hit the wall. 3 of his sons are in prison. His daughter rebelled against him, run off to another city, married somebody else without his permission, and his life is chaotic, stressed out of his mind. Can't sleep, can't eat, can't do anything. And it's because you were feeding these children 25 years of their life haram. You were showering them with haram, you were sheltering them with haram, the roof that you put them under was haram, and you wonder why the outcome at the end became like this, because you weren't truthful with your income. This is one of the reasons, ikhwani, why we find so much problems. Haram income, feeding our children haram money. If we were truthful, ikhwani, just like we mentioned in the khutbah, you wouldn't have these problems. Because every trial that comes upon you is because of something that you did. So being truthful with your income too. A man raised his hand and his dua wasn't answered because his malbas was haram, وَمَطْعَمُهُ haram, وَمَشْرَبُهُ haram. فَأَنَّ يُسْتَجَابَ لَهُ. The clothing that he was wearing was haram, the food that he was eating was haram. How will Allah respond to somebody like that? So the ulama, they say one of the ways that your dua will be answered is that your income is halal. The man's making umrah, hajj, praying, salah, nothing's working out because your income is haram, akhi fillah. If you rectify that, then you'll find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala making all of your affairs easy and everything will fall into its place. The opposite of as-sidq and speaking truthful, ikhwani, is al-kadhib, lying. And as you take a look in the Quran, akhi, lying wasn't attributed to a very good group of people. Verily, lying was attributed to a very dangerous group of people. People that we need to be very cautious of and very careful. People who are more dangerous than those who disbelieve in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they are the munafiqeen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إِنَّ الْمُنَافِقِينَ هُمُ الْكَاذِبُونَ. The munafiqeen, the hypocrites, they are the liars. And what else did Allah say about the munafiqeen? He said, إِنَّ الْمُنَافِقِينَ فِي الدَّرْكِ الْأَسْفَلِ مِنَ النَّارِ. They are the bottom pit of the hellfire. The munafiq, they were there at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, and they are also here today. People who act that they are believers, but from inside there's a complete different thing happening. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in their heart, فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ مَرَضْ فَزَادَهُمُ اللَّهُ مَرَضًا. In their heart there is a disease, and Allah increased their disease, and for them is a painful punishment. Likewise Allah said, إِنَّمَا يَفْتَرِ الْكَذِبَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ بِآيَاتِ اللَّهِ وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْكَاذِبُونَ. They only invent false who do not believe in the verses of Allah, and those are the liars. The munafiq ikhwani, they are spoken about in the Quran many times over. Also the Prophet ﷺ, he told us that they are alama, that they are signs that we can know who a munafiq is. Alamatul munafiq thalatha. Okay? If when he speaks, he lies. When he speaks, he lies. When you make a promise, he breaks it. And when you trust him in the affair, he betrays it. These are the alama of the munafiq. We can't say necessarily that we can implement on people, but these are some of the signs of the munafiq. Also the companions, ikhwani akhawati fillah, if they do not see someone in Salatul Fajr for numbers of days, they will start to question and even think, is he a munafiq? Showing to you, ikhwani, because of the Prophet told us that there are two salah which are very difficult upon the munafiq, and one of them is Salatul Fajr. And likewise one of the salafs, the companions, was asked, why is it that the air in the morning is fresh? He said, because the munafiqeen are asleep. Because the munafiqeen are asleep at that time. Showing to you, ikhwani, how serious they took Salatul Fajr. And showing to you how serious they took in order to speak the truth. Wasn't it Umar ibn Khattab who went to the secret keep of the munafiqeen, and he said, am I in the list of the munafiq? Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel. It's Umar ibn Khattab. Look how much they feared Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And look how much they feared nifaq upon themselves. The man like Umar was Amir al-Mu'mineen. If you took one street, shaitan took the other. Umar ibn Khattab, who the Prophet ﷺ praised him. If there was going to be a prophet after him, it would have been Umar. Would actually go and ask him that. So the companions, ikhwani, feared for the iman to this extent. And why is it that we are so much confident in our iman, where we think we are going to Firdawsul A'la the moment we die? Who promised you Firdawsul A'la? Who promised you anything? So we also, ikhwani, have to live just like the bird with two wings. One wing filled with hope, and the other wing filled with fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The believer needs to live his life in a balanced way like that, where he knows that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very forgiving, and he knows that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is shadidul iqab. For verily Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in control of the heart, can flip the heart to any side that he wants. So always be truthful, ikhwani, and always be motivated, and always be a person who is truthful in this hayat of ad-dunya. Even if all of the odds are against you. Every single person in the dunya is against you. People don't like you, people don't want to see you, people don't want to hear you, people just dislike you for whatever they dislike you for. Be truthful with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Verily Allah will be truthful with you, Jalla Jalala. Innahu la yukhlifu al-mi'ad. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us truthful in our ibadah, in our deeds, in our iman, in our connection with Him, Jalla Jalaluh. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep all of us firm upon the Quran and the Sunnah during these times of trials and tribulation. May He subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from the Siddiqeen. May He subhanahu wa ta'ala reunite us in al-Firdaus al-A'la with the Anbiya, the Siddiqeen, the Shuhada and the Salihin. May He protect us from the adab of Jahannam. May He protect us from the punishment of the grave. May He protect us from the fitnah of the Masih al-Dajjal. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow our last deeds to be righteous deeds. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to die upon La ilaha illallah Muhammadan Rasulullah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make the question of Munkar and Nakir an easy one for all of us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it from the Firqatul Najiyah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to drink from the hawt of the Prophet ﷺ Yawm al-Qiyamah. May He make us from the people who have a special connection with His Quran. May He allow us to reach the month of Ramadan with safe and iman. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala purify our hearts from nifaq, from hypocrisy and all evilness. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala purify our hearts from envy and jealousy. May He subhanahu wa ta'ala purify our hearts from all illnesses. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us righteous hearts, hearts that are sound when the Quran is recited enters right into it. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to have a special connection with His book and allow us to recite every harf in it until we meet Him Jalla Jalaluh. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. وصلى اللهم وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أقم الصلاة رحمكم الله.